Hi, and welcome back to Morgellons Discussion, the podcast on Anchor FM. I'm your host, Jeremy Murphy, and today we've got a very special episode because I am so proud to present to you the first ever Introduction to Morgellons online course. And the best part is that it is completely free. Free to everybody. You, your friends, your family, your doctor, their doctors, your attorney, your fireman, your mailman, the policeman, the milkman, the movie ticket theater guy, comic book guy, radio DJ guy, and more. Head on over to morgellons.teachable.com. That's morgellons.teachable.com and check out our free online Introduction to Morgellons course. You will learn what the difference is between a photograph that is Morgellons and a photograph that's mistakenly labeled as Morgellons. You're going to know what pathogens are associated with Morgellons and what the best, most responsible avenue for treatment is. There's even information on financial aid. But most importantly, as promised, this course will allow you to advocate for yourself as a Morgellons patient, not having to rely on any kind of high control group. That's going to tell you what you can and can't do. Nobody likes having somebody else manage their time. This course, brought to you by the new Morgellons movement, is built on the pillars of these three guiding principles. 1. We reject cults, mantras, and vision statements. 2nd, we respect everybody. Hey, if they don't agree with our opinion, that's their prerogative. We just have a difference of opinion. And 3rd, we remain autonomous. We don't have to go around being controlled by any group. We can take care of ourselves. And you do a pretty good job if you go to this free online Morgellons course. So I definitely got to thank Crystal Clear out there for highlighting this free online Morgellons course that we're offering and all the other things that I do. Rest assured, Crystal Clear has the funniest Morgellons show on Anchor FM. Speaking of Anchor FM, here's a word from our sponsor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. You're not going to have to worry about a couple of bucks coming out of your account here and there every month. Even better, there are creation tools that allow you to create and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. After you've got your episode ready, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Bottom line, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. All right, so on Crystal's last show, she helped me out by hyping the online Morgellons course. And really what that's helping out is you guys, because y'all get to take the course. You don't have to deal with any high control group crap. If you want to talk knowledgeably about Morgellons with your physicians, this course should help you do that. Confidence to go forward and speak the knowledge of the Morgellons science. But Crystal rightfully had some concerns of her own, and so I'm going to answer those here today. First of all, the researchers being questionable. There's nothing specifically questionable about any particular researcher that couldn't be applied to any other contemporary researcher, and probably to a lesser extent with the Morgellons researchers themselves. Say, for example, the complaints that people had enough of to drag members of the IDSA in front of a Supreme Court in Texas, right? They're saying that these men specifically conspired with insurance companies to change the criteria for diagnosing Lyme disease so that patients had to stay sicker because Lyme is more expensive to treat. And they actually dragged those guys into court. Eventually, the case was dismissed against them and applied to the organization that they represent, but no Morgellons researcher has ever come close to getting involved in a situation like that. Although, yes, there are some Morgellons researchers who get into some crap, and that's publicly available online, but not the ones that I've interviewed on my show. But more importantly, it's the science. The science wasn't just accomplished by this small group of researchers. The thing is these researchers send the materials they have off to laboratories to do those experiments to determine if their hypotheses are correct. The researchers sent skin samples off to Clemson University in South Carolina. And Clemson University in South Carolina used a scanning electron microscope to observe spirochetal bacteria embedded within the skin tissue. What does this mean? Well, obviously it means South Carolina's corrupt. But who didn't know that already? The point is, the same thing was accomplished in Germany, Australia, China apparently, because they have a favorable Morgellons research paper that says no, it's not delusional. There is a real Morgellons associated with the spirochetal bacteria. The studies are not just this handful of scientists in an RV out in the desert, and that's why we're able to establish a small consensus that is global. Wikipedia France, for example, they have information about all that Morgellons research that's been accomplished. They do say that, yeah, there is science that says it's associated with a bacterial infection. They're not nice about it, but at least they say something about it. Here in the U.S., that is completely omitted, despite years of individuals trying to edit that with the new information. All right, but the big Morgellons is good to you. If you eat some eggs, it'll do it too. You'll get up in the morning and run around and then find out that I'm out of town. I want you to pick up the phone and call me. Man, I say stupid shit in front of girls. All right, the biofilm. So basically what happens with this bacteria, the biofilm is one way that this bacteria evades antibiotics. I'm going to break it down. So the spirochetal bacteria, the little corkscrews, are smaller than human skin cells. And so they drill their way up inside of them and they habitate in there. Obviously, antibiotics are not going to penetrate those, and those that can, they have to deal with the biofilm structures that these bacteria create, using things like the skin cell, but also other bacterial species and other microbial agents. They build habitats inside the body, and those habitats tap into the bloodstream. They feed off the nutrients and the oxygen that the blood brings into the biofilm colony, but at the same time they have channels for waste which exits the colony as well, and that floods the bloodstream with toxins as well as fresh microbials, because while they're in those colonies, you know they're replicating, and when all them kids get old enough they gotta go, the top of that biofilm literally pops off and all the children flood your bloodstream. And that's why, one of the reasons why there's a cycle in sickness. You know, you go to get the platonic bacteria cleared out of your bloodstream with the 2 weeks of antibiotics, but then what did you do to those biofilm colonies that are hanging out in the arteries, on the veins, in the lungs, in your urinary tract? See, that's the thing, and we do have terms for these. You've got neuroborreliosis, and that's where it's gotten into the brain. You got Borrelia-related carditis, but if you want to look at a more practical and more likely scenario, you just got to look at syphilis. The numbers for syphilis historically have been 4 times greater than per Lyme incident. So every time there's one Lyme disease patient, there's going to be 4 syphilis patients reported to the CDC. All those places that syphilis can get into, where they have a hard time, instead of doing the 3 shots of penicillin, they have to do the months of penicillin shot. That's because the syphilis has established biofilm colonies inside your body. Okay, and so antibiotics, they often cannot penetrate those biofilm colonies because often those colonies are reinforced with your own cells. These bacteria do excrete an extra polysaccharide matrix which covers the biofilm, but you got to be thinking these things are inside the body and they are pockets of bacteria. So when people talk about taking biofilm busters, I'm praying that they're taking antibiotics too, because when you bust open biofilms, you better be able to kill the agents that are living inside of them. I hope I did a good job, Crystal, answering the questions. I appreciate you. All right, so this online course, why did I create an online course for Morgellons patients? And it's because I want them to advocate autonomously. I don't want nobody calling me a hero. And so I don't want anybody to have to rely on heroes. I want them to be their own hero. Because often when you get inside these online groups, what you're actually doing is you're carrying out the group mission. And the group mission may actually conflict with what your mission is. Your mission may not necessarily be to go scream at the CDC. And I hope it's not. I hope that you're going to realize that that's a bad tactic and that there's way better ways to address advocating for better patient care. And so that's why I put this course together, because I want you to be able to go forward with the knowledge and understanding that, okay, Morgellons, it really isn't that hard to get, and be able to talk to your lawmakers and say, hey, this is what's really up. Yeah, there is a real Morgellons. No, it's not an alien invasion, but it is a pretty serious skin condition. And you should have the resources you need to show them what you know. Hey, I appreciate everybody checking in, listening to me, and giving me the feedback. All those who have helped me pay some bills, thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great weekend and enjoy this tune. See ya.